two soldiers were given a nearly impossible task. They had to cross through enemy lines in broad daylight to deliver a crucial message to their comrades on the front lines. If they didn't make it within 24 hours, their fellow soldiers would perish. Crawling cautiously through the battlefield, the two men moved forward with extreme care, each step calculated to avoid detection. The air was thick with a nauseating stench that made it hard to breathe. They struggled to crawl over the tangled barbed wire, only to be shocked when they discovered the body of a soldier, likely the one who had gone out on a reconnaissance mission the day before. Will quickly tore open the barbed wire, letting Tom pass first. However, in the process, Will accidentally caught his hand on the wire. The injury looked painful, but Will gritted his teeth and said nothing. They had already entered enemy territory, and they needed to be extra cautious. If they were discovered, their lives would be at risk. Suddenly, they heard the roar of planes overhead. They quickly hid in a puddle to avoid being seen. Fortunately, it was their own planes, and they narrowly escaped being detected. With hearts still racing, they continued to move cautiously toward the German trenches. When they arrived, they were shocked to find the trenches empty. It turned out the Germans had quietly retreated, confirming the intelligence. The enemy was planning a major counterattack. Will took a brief rest and quickly tended to his wound. Tom noticed that the carbon tubes used by the Germans were still smoking, indicating they had just left. They carefully walked along the trench, and to their surprise, they stumbled upon a mysterious underground tunnel. They turned on their flashlight and cautiously crawled inside. It turned out to be the Germans' luxurious dormitory, a sight that made Tom envious. Even the rats there were bigger than the ones in their own camp. But what was even more bizarre were the many white sacks hanging from the rafters, leaving them puzzled. Just then, Will noticed a glimmering fuse. The atmosphere grew tense. At that moment, a rat fell from the ceiling and, unfortunately, brushed against the fuse, triggering an explosion. The trap went off in an instant. Tom was lucky and unharmed, but Will was buried under the rubble. In a panic, Tom frantically cleared the debris, struggling to pull Will out. Thankfully, the grenade's blast wasn't lethal, but Will's vision was gone. As the tunnel above them began to collapse, Tom and Will panicked. Tom clung tightly to Will and dragged him toward the exit. In the midst of this chaos, Tom suddenly realized there was a massive pit right in front of him. He jumped over it with quick reflexes, but Will, unable to see, was about to fall in. Tom shouted words of encouragement, and despite his fear, Will gathered the strength to leap after him. By a stroke of luck, just moments before the tunnel collapsed, the two men managed to escape. It was nothing short of a life-or-death mission, and they had narrowly survived.